Now, social networking, after mass customization, social networking is, I don't think, as big a game changer as mobile technology is. I think social networking to me is kind of like the continuation of things like, people had laptops and they went to email and then they went to Facebook or Twitter. I think it's just an evolution of utilization of technology. But what it does require is that you be able to not only understand that world, but provide that world in your space. Provide that world in your space. So for example, at ASAE, our membership, we used to have a printed membership directory that was organized by Alpha, and then it was organized by type of association and name of association. Well, now we have a feature called Member to Member where you can, in effect, create your own Facebook-like community using our membership directory. Now, this isn't very fancy or sophisticated. It's pretty simple and straightforward, and probably obsolete already. But the fact of the matter is that organizations are having to use in their own space Facebook and Twitter and Flickr and all these types of social technology, social networking features, so that a newer cohort of members coming in will feel at home and not have to go outside the association, which is what they're doing now anyway. So they're already outside the association on Facebook. You want them inside the association on things like Facebook and LinkedIn so that they can form communities with your members. And then you also want that in your own space itself and call it your own Facebook, your own LinkedIn. So you need to have this almost recognizing you're playing in a world where it's going to be outside of your world. There's a world that you have to bring that world into your space. Then you have to create technologies, not create technology, and you have to utilize that technology in a way that makes people feel like they're on their own ASAE Facebook or their own whatever, Twitter, whatever you're talking about. So it's a tough issue because on the one hand, we now have maybe 5% of our membership who use it, and we have 95% who don't care about it. But those numbers are going to change as we go forward. So we have to be in that space if we're going to be relevant because the 5% who do care about it chatter a lot about it. They chatter a lot about you and they chatter a lot about among themselves. And, other people not so much. So they're still using more traditional technologies like email and things like that. So you have to have your foot in both camps. And you have to really be proficient in trying to figure out how to be in both camps. And as I said earlier, Jeff's going to help you do that this afternoon. So, if your organization doesn't establish a social media presence, you may find that those communities will form unofficially without you. We've already talked about that. It can be a good tool for strengthening and extending the life of other association content, such as a meeting or a symposium. I think this type of virtual technology, virtual meetings, to me strikes me like 15 years ago. 15 years ago, the advent of the internet, everybody said, well, we'll never have, 15 years from now, there won't be face-to-face meetings. They're all going to go away. Everybody's going to learn online. Well, guess what? That never happened. Yeah, some face-to-face meetings went away because the days of people getting on an airplane, flying to a meeting for a half a day, getting a hotel room and flying back again, that's pretty, particularly in a tough economic environment, those meetings are sort of gone by the wayside, and technology does enable and facilitate those types of meetings. But people still are people. They're human beings. They want to interact. They want not only the content that's in the room, they want the hallway conversation. They want the opportunity to have meals together. They want the opportunity to go out to the bar together. I mean, people want to have that type of interaction. So what virtual technology allows you to do now, it becomes an add-on. Just like online learning is an add-on to face-to-face, virtual technology is an add-on to online learning. And so, you have to provide that. So now at your Facebook, and you guys don't have so much of this problem because you're really not running trade shows of any consequence, I don't believe. But in the trade show world, where you have these big, like the Consumer Electronics Trade Show in Vegas, which attracts hundreds of thousands of people, and some of the National Association of Broadcasters, which is a huge trade show. In trade shows like that, what's happening is that the experience of the trade show needs to last not 3 days, 365 days. That's the expectation of the exhibitor. That the virtual aspect of technology will physical show to extend over the next 362 days. The physical show becomes a place where you can build the relationship, demonstrate your piece face-to-face, shake the hands, do all the things that you do in a trade show, but then the business gets done 362 days over the year. That's the value piece, and by the way, that's what people are monetizing. If you go to a trade show and you have a virtual aspect to it and nobody buys anything for 362 days after that trade show, you think anybody's going to be back? Think that company's going to be back? Not so much. Not so much. And so that's what's happening in the world, and you talk about the world being turned upside down. When you look at pharmaceutical and relationship with doctors and prescription writing, and then the impact of healthcare reform. I came from that world. I could talk about that for another hour, but I won't get into that. But the changes there in terms of the ways in which pharmaceutical companies market their products to physicians are turned upside down. It's a whole different ballgame. And all of this, again, is enabled by technology. And so many different sectors are impacted that way. And again, you guys aren't so much in the trade show business, but your colleagues who are in the trade show business, is a huge issue. So all that's to say is that you not only need to have the face-to-face piece, you need to have the online piece, and now you need to have the virtual piece. And by the way, it is not cheap. Putting on a virtual meeting, now we're doing it for the first time. Our ASAE meeting next month in August out in LA is a face-to-face meeting, obviously. Some of you may have attended it. But the fact of the matter is we now have a virtual component to it, where we're going to have all 3 general sessions streamed live, as well as 22 of the 120 different education sessions. Not only are we going to get it live in real time in LA, or wherever you are in the world, but it's going to be archived for you for 90 days. So you can access it for 90 days after the meeting, and then it will go away. We've never done this before. It's a brand new model. We didn't know how to price it. We didn't know what vendors to use. We didn't know which programs to pick. And we frankly don't know how it's going to work, although I know for a fact that we will know how it's going to work in real time, because that 5% of the people who chat all the time will be chatting about how the general session really sucks or something like that. So we'll be able to pick up real time on that, so we get that anyway, whether we do it virtually or not. So that's another issue. So in any event, this is just a few stats here on Facebook. It's used by 86% have a presence. Twitter has grown as now for nonprofits from 43 to 60% in the last year, and about 22% of nonprofits operate one or more house networks in 2010, built on the nonprofit's own website. 46% of the group report that fundraising is an important role for their commercial social networking presence. 40% report getting donations from Facebook, but 78% of those organizations raise less than $1,000. It's interesting to me, when I was still with diabetes, that was now 7-8 years ago, we started launching, internet fundraising. It really hasn't kind of taken off. I know the texting does for the things like, the earthquake in Haiti and things along those lines where, the texting for $10 contribution is made. I mean, that's kind of had some legs to it. But online giving, and I suspect, although I'm not so much in the philanthropic world anymore, I suspect that at the end of the day, kind of like face-to-face meetings, a big piece of philanthropy is always going to be about looking somebody in the eye, shaking their hand, and saying, I need your help, I need your support, and here's why. Now, maybe you can nurture that relationship online. Maybe you can continue to develop that relationship. But my guess is, and this is just a John Graham guess, I have no evidence of this, my guess is that philanthropy will remain a people business. And people are going to have to continue to meet and visit and nurture and do the things that you guys know about.